Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic!
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
Have you ever dreamed of your teeth falling out? Or caught a glimpse of your own double in an empty street? What if you saw someone you know without their head? These eerie signs, deeply rooted in Filipino superstition, are believed to predict one thing: death. Hey there, curious minds. Welcome back to another spine-tingling episode of the Lil Weird Podcast, where we dive into all things bizarre, creepy, and downright unexplainable. I'm your host, Jane, and I have to confess, I'm actually scared of ghost stories and everything that makes your spine crawl. Yep, that's right. Talking about these eerie topics is literally a test of courage for me. But hey, in the spirit of Halloween, I'm pushing through my fears because I know you love these strange and spooky stories just as much as I do. So, grab a blanket, turn off the lights if you dare, and join me explore the creepiest death omens in Filipino culture. From terrifying dreams of losing teeth to the chilling sight of someone you know without their head. Let's unravel the stories that keep us up at night. You ready? Because I'm not sure I am, but here we go anyway. In this episode, we'll deep dive into the top 3 death omens in the Philippines. First is dreaming of losing teeth. Does this simple dream really foreshadow death, or is it just our subconscious playing tricks? Second, seeing your doppelgänger. Could meeting your double mean your days are numbered? And third, headless apparitions. If you see someone you know without their head, quickly warn them. The headless figure is not just a chilling sight, it's a dire sign of impending doom. Let's talk about dreaming of losing teeth. So, in the Philippine culture, dreaming of losing teeth is commonly seen as a bad omen, often linked to death or illness. The belief holds that if you dream about your teeth falling out, it may signal the impending death of a close family member or a friend. Some Filipinos, especially in rural areas, take this dream seriously, performing countermeasures to ward off the bad luck associated with it. So here is a personal story when I was young, when I first encountered this belief. So I grew up mostly with the presence of our housemaid who has been with us for more than 7 years. So I spent my teenage years with her, and these are the years when I can say that are mostly my exploring years, because I found my interests, such as interest in the bizarre things, especially the paranormal, and of course astrology and the occult. This is also the first time I got my first book of dream interpretations. As a child growing up in the rural areas of the Philippines, our perspectives and how we do things are rooted deeper into old traditions and beliefs. The more secluded your community is, the more likely you abide to these customs and beliefs. It was around my 4th grade when I first had an interest in dream meanings. And this is also when I started to dream vividly. The more I try to recall my dreams, the more they become clear and complex. In some dreams, I feel like I am watching a movie. Then, I also started dreaming of scary and dark things. But actually, if I go back a little further, I already have dreams when I was younger. The farthest dream that I can recall is that when I was around 3 or 4 years old, when we were still living in our old house. Our family is poor that time, so our house is like that of the traditional nipa house, or what we call kubo in the Philippines. It was made of nipa and wood, and just like the traditional kubo, it was elevated, so there is a space below where the chickens or dogs would usually stay. Then the kitchen is almost like a separate part of the house. So I was sleeping in one of the two rooms that we have. By the way, the windows are that kind of made out of nipa where you can just push them from the inside and you would place a bamboo stick in the middle to keep it open. So as I was sleeping, I dreamt that there was a huge black entity on the window trying to take me. Well, the weird thing is, I know that that figure was trying to take me, but at the same time, I was traveling down to our kitchen to ask for help. Then, I saw my tito or uncle and my lola or my grandmother busy about something there, like they're talking or something. And then they couldn't notice me. So in retrospect, it was like an out-of-body experience I'm having, but with that age. So that's just a little weird, right? Anyway, fast forward to when I was about 10 years old. Our housemaid taught me a way to deal with bad dreams. She told me that whenever I wake up from a nightmare, I should immediately hit something, whether it's the wall or the headboard of the bed, because according to her, this act would transfer the bad energy from the dream to whatever I hit, preventing it from affecting me. Then, it was also her, I think, who taught me not to tell my bad dreams to anyone to prevent them from coming true. Then I started dreaming of my teeth falling out. I told her about it. Then she told me that it was a bad omen, as it signifies tragedy or even death of someone close to me. She told me that I need to bite off a wood to counter it. Then I started noticing that whenever I am dreaming of a tooth falling out, I would hear of a bad news the next day. Whether someone I know would be in an accident or something bad happens. I also learned that I need to bite a living wood actually instead of a wooden furniture like the bed. It's a bit weird and funny when I think about it right now. How I am looking for branches of trees or plants I can easily bite just to counter the dream. Then I also started hearing other people, either from my family or someone I know of, who tell stories about how something terrible happens when they are dreaming of the same thing. This convinced me that this can be true without sharing them my personal experience. Since then, I am always worried whenever I dream of it. When I got to college, our psychology professor said that this dream does not necessarily mean death or misfortune. I don't recall now what she said exactly, but it has something to do about the feeling of vulnerability or powerlessness. So, as I researched about it, I read that losing teeth in dreams indicate deeper issues of insecurity or low self-esteem. It often appears when people are facing situations where they feel inadequate or embarrassed, such as public speaking or performance reviews. I still occasionally have dreams about my teeth falling out, but I no longer believe in the spiritual fears tied to them, such as death or misfortune. Those old fears just don't hold any weight for me anymore. Maybe it's something that happens as you get older. You begin to dismiss these superstitions, especially those that seem strange or hard to explain. It could be because you've learned to question their truth, or maybe you just stop caring because adult life gets in the way. However, as someone who experienced these dreams firsthand, I wouldn't entirely discredit the feelings I had when I was younger. But looking back, I think the easiest explanation for why strange coincidences happen is confirmation bias. It's when you trick yourself into believing that something is true because you selectively notice or interpret events that support your belief. In other words, you're filtering the evidence to match what you already think rather than objectively assessing the situation. Well, that's just my take. So, now let's explore how the Filipino interpretation of this dream compares to similar beliefs in other culture. In Chinese superstition, dreaming of losing teeth can also symbolize death. but it is more commonly interpreted as a sign of family troubles or lies. It's said that the person who dreams of losing their teeth might be withholding the truth or going through a period of dishonesty. In Mexican culture, particularly within rural communities, losing teeth in dreams is considered a bad omen, similar to the Filipino beliefs. It can indicate sickness or death, especially of someone close. While in Greek superstition, it aligns also closely with the Filipino and Mexican beliefs. Dreaming of losing teeth is seen as a sign that a relative or loved one may die soon. The Greeks often advised dreamers to prepare emotionally when they experience such dreams. In many Western cultures, however, the interpretation of losing teeth in dreams leans more towards anxiety, fear of aging, or loss of control, rather than direct associations with death. It can indicate concerns about self-image or fear of losing personal power. The common thread across many cultures is that losing teeth is rarely considered a good sign, but while in some cultures, it's tied to death or misfortune, as like in the Philippines, China, and Mexico. In others, it's seen more as a reflection of personal insecurities and stress. Okay, so how about in the lens of science? So let's check the scientific or psychological perspective on losing teeth. So first is stress and anxiety. So from a psychological viewpoint, dreams of losing teeth are often linked to stress or anxiety. Studies suggest that this dream may reflect inner turmoil such as concerns about one's appearance, fear of embarrassment, or general life anxieties. It's particularly common among individuals experiencing high-stress situations such as major life changes or personal challenges. It can also be a symbol of change and transition. It's a way for the subconscious mind to process feelings about change. And lastly, it could also mean health and physical manifestation. Sometimes, dreaming of losing teeth could be just tied to dental health issues or subconscious worries about physical health. This can be true to the phenomena of teeth grinding or bruxism or jaw clenching during sleep. It can actually lead to dreams about losing teeth as well. Okay, so that's it about the first omen. Now, let's move on to seeing your doppelganger or your double. So the word doppelganger is a term originating from the German words doppel or double and ganger or walker, which means double walker. I don't know if I pronounced that properly. So, doppelganger refers to a look-alike or a double of a living person. In folklore and mythology, a doppelganger is often considered an ominous or supernatural entity believed to be a harbinger of bad luck or even death. So, in history, I found two familiar stories that talk about this phenomena of doppelganger. One of the most famous historical accounts comes from Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. According to Lincoln himself, shortly after his election in 1860, he saw a vision of his doppelganger in a mirror. He saw two faces, his own and a pale, ghostly version beside it. His wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, interpreted this as a bad omen, believing it meant Lincoln would serve 2 terms as a president but would not survive the second one. This eerie story became more famous after Lincoln's assassination. Lincoln did indeed serve 2 terms, as Mary had predicted, but his second term was tragically cut short when he was fatally shot by John Wilkes Booth while attending a play at Ford's Theatre. The second story is about the English romantic poet Percy Bysshe Shelley. In 1822, Shelley's wife, Mary Shelley, author of Frankenstein, wrote that her husband had seen a vision of himself walking along a terrace. In an eerie twist of fate, Shelley drowned shortly after seeing his spectral double, reinforcing the belief that such encounters predict death. In Filipino culture, there are similar beliefs to the idea of doppelganger, although they are often linked to supernatural entities like multo or ghosts, or encanto, or elemental beings. These beings are thought to mimic the appearance of living individuals, causing confusion or fear, and are often seen as harbingers of bad luck or even death. much like the Western concept of the doppelganger. Here in the Philippines, it is said that you shouldn't meet your doppelganger or your double because it surely means death. The popular belief also has something to do with the shapeshifters or some malevolent entities that copy someone you know to trick you. So in some instances, doubles doesn't strictly account to bad luck or even death. So what are the psychological explanations of this phenomenon? In psychology, seeing a doppelganger can sometimes be attributed to autoscopic phenomena, where a person perceives an image of their body in their environment, often associated with conditions like epilepsy or brain lesions. Is it really supernatural or a phenomenon that can actually be explained? Well, we're not sure about it. Perhaps the safest way is just to avoid seeing your double. Okay, so now let's talk about the part where I am most scared of, and this is the headless apparitions. So, in Filipino culture, seeing a person without a head is considered a strong omen of death or misfortune. This belief is tied to the notion that encountering a headless figure signifies that the person who appears to be headless will soon encounter something terrible, or worse, it's an omen that the person is going to die soon. Seriously, hearing stories of people witnessing this is downright spine-chilling. As I am reading and researching this, I really feel so uneasy. But let me share with you a well-known story that ties into this theme. Many Filipino horror fans may already be familiar with it. It's a tale that takes place in a jeepney, which for those who don't know is one of the most iconic forms of public transportation in the Philippines. If you've never seen one before, you can look it up online to get an idea of what it looks like. It's colorful, open-air vehicle used by many Filipinos daily. So, the story goes like this. It was late at night. A woman was sitting quietly in the back of a jeepney. She was watching the deserted streets of the city slip by. The air was heavy with the stillness of the hour. But there was something else. Something that made her feel uneasy. At first, she couldn't figure out what it was. Maybe it was the driver. He kept glancing at her through the rearview mirror, quick and furtive, as though trying to make sense of something. She brushed it off initially. Maybe he was just checking on his passengers. But the glances became more frequent, more deliberate. His eyes darted back to her with strange intensity. Each time she caught his gaze, his expression seemed more troubled, like he was seeing something she couldn't. Her unease grew. Why was he looking at her like that? Was something wrong? She shifted in her seat, the feeling in her gut tightening. His glances, once quick, now lingered, filled with what seemed like fear. She could feel the tension building in the small, quiet space of the jeepney, and it wrapped around her like a cold chill. The driver wasn't just being curious. There was something deeper, something unsettling in his gaze. Finally, the jeep slowed as they approached her stop. Relief washed over her as she stood to leave. But just as she was about to step out, the driver's voice, low and trembling, broke the silence. "Burn your clothes when you get home," he said. Startled, she turned back, her brow furrowing in confusion. What? His eyes, wide with fear and dread, locked onto hers. "I kept looking at you in the mirror, but I couldn't see your head." Her blood ran cold. The driver hadn't been watching her out of curiosity. He had been seeing something horrifying, something that Filipino belief could only mean one thing: a headless figure, an omen of death. So, this story happened, I think, in UP Diliman. Anyway, I added also some creativity to the storytelling to make it interesting. But basically, that's how the story goes. Okay, so here is another eerie story that comes from my best friend. Something that happened to her during our high school years. So the story goes like this. It was already late in the afternoon, just as the sun was setting after school. She was at home with her mom and sister. Her mom was outside on the balcony, chatting with their neighbor, while my friend stayed inside, watching them through the window. From where she stood, she could clearly see the neighbor's face. But when she looked at her mom, something strange happened. She couldn't see her mom's face. Instead, it was as if a dark, featureless circle had replaced it, blocking her face from view. So she panicked in fear and ran towards her sister, who was in her room. And then she told her what she had seen. So both of them were terrified by the strange occurrence. So they rushed to tell their mom. After discussing it, they made a quick decision to take all of the clothes her mom was wearing at the time and throw them into the nearby river, hoping to ward off whatever bad omen this might be. That night, her mom was supposed to attend an event at the school where she worked. But after witnessing such an unsettling sign, they urged her to stay at home. The atmosphere in the house was thick with tension as they tried to shake off the fear. Hours later, they received shocking news. A fight had erupted at the event. Had her mom gone, she might have been caught in the chaos. It was as if the strange, faceless vision had been warning, and it felt as though something sinister had been avoided. To this day, my friend can't shake off the feeling that she had unknowingly glimpsed a shadow of danger hidden just beneath the surface of reality. As we wrap up this episode, let's take a moment to reflect on the unsettling stories and superstitions we've explored tonight. Dreaming of losing teeth may seem like a simple nightmare, but for centuries, it's carried deep-rooted meanings in cultures around the world. Some say it's a direct message from the spiritual realm, a foreshadowing of death or misfortune. Others believe it's merely our subconscious wrestling with stress or fears. But whatever you believe, you have to wonder, how many coincidences does it take before something becomes more than just a dream? Then, there's the terrifying experience of seeing your doppelganger. For many, meeting their double is more than just an eerie encounter. It's a sign that something dark looms ahead. Could it really mean your days are numbered? Or is it just a trick of the mind? Either way, it's a thought that can make you question reality the next time you catch a glimpse of someone just a little too familiar. And of course, we can't forget the most chilling of all, headless apparitions. Whether it's in the mirror, on the street, or in the face of someone you know, seeing a figure without a head is more than just a creepy sight. It's an omen, a warning that danger or even death is near. Is it mere superstition, or should we heed this warning more seriously? In the end, these stories challenge what we think we know about the world around us. Maybe they're just coincidences. Maybe they're tricks of the mind. But if there's even the slightest chance they're more than that, would you want to ignore the signs? Or would you rather be cautious, just in case? So, as you go about your day or night, pay attention to the dreams you have, the faces you see, and the strange signs you encounter. You never know which ones might be trying to tell you something. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me on this eerie journey through death omens, doppelgangers, and headless apparitions. These stories, while deeply rooted in superstition, challenge us to question how much we really know about the world around us and what lies beyond it. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to hear more spine-chilling tales, make sure to subscribe to the Little Weird Podcast on your favorite platform. And don't forget to leave a review. It helps us reach more curious souls like you. You can also follow me on social media for updates, behind-the-scene content, and more weirdness you won't want to miss. As always, you stay curious, you stay brave, and until next time, keep questioning what you think you know, because sometimes the strangest things are the ones closest to home. Always be curious and embrace the weird. Thanks for listening.